Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the council meeting of November 4th, 2024. Everyone that can, please rise for the playing of the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in our
Meeting started?
Yeah, but we're just singing the national anthem. It's something I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Niagara Region and Grimsby are situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Wendourong, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara and the town of Grimsby stand with all Indigenous peoples, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest? Councillor Sharwa.
I will be declaring a non-pecuniary interest on item 16.1, Integrity Commissioner Final Investigation Report, but I will be voting.
All right, that's noted. Can I have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda?
No.
Oh.
She'll participate in the discussion, but not.
No. Councillor DeFlavio? Oh, yeah, mover? Okay, sorry. Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, second by Councillor Bradsey. Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, second by Councillor Bradsey. Resolved that the November 4th, 2024 council meeting agenda be approved. All in favor? That's carried. All right, there's no delegations or presentations. We're going to move into closed. Before we begin closed session, all members are reminded that any discussions in closed are to remain confidential as our procedural bylaw and our code of conduct for council of the town of Grimsby. I need each member that is attending electronically to confirm the following: that you understand that matters are to remain confidential, and to confirm that no one else is present with you, and to confirm that no one else can hear this closed session, and confirm that you are not using any electronic devices other than your tablet or computer for the purposes of video conferencing only, and confirm that you are not recording this portion of the meeting. If you acknowledge to all the above, please reply with "I understand" and confirm to all of the statements. Councillor Vardy?
I understand and confirm to all the statements.
Great, thank you, Councillor Vardy. Can I have a mover and seconder to move into closed? Councillor Bradsey, Councillor Frake. Moved by Councillor Bradsey, second by Councillor Frake. Resolve that council meet in closed session under section 2392E of the Municipal Act, where the subject matter being considered is litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, specifically OLT representation for 262 Mud Street West. Section 2392C of the Municipal Act, with subject matter being considered as proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, specifically potential land acquisition, and Section 2392B of the Municipal Act, where the subject matter being considered is personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically Grimsby Green Task Force appointments. All in favor to go into closed? That's carried.
Yes.
Now moving into closed. All right, we are now back. Are you ready? Yeah, we're now back in open session. Can I have a mover and seconder for the land acquisition direction? Moved by Councillor Howe, seconder. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bradley. Moved by Councillor Howe, second by Councillor Bradley. Resolved that the direction provided in closed session regarding land acquisition be approved. All in favor? That's carried. Can I have a mover and seconder to lift report PA 24-40 and vote on the resolution? That's 262 Mud Street. Moved by Councillor Corstangi, second by Councillor Bradley. Moved by Councillor Corstangi, second by Councillor Bradley. Resolved that report PA 24-40, 26 SP 16, 22-05, 262 Mud Street West, Town Representation of the Ontario Land Tribunal dated November 4th, 2024 be lifted and received, and the council instruct Town's legal counsel to defend the current quantification methodology of fees and securities in relation to the application for site plan approval at 262 Mud Street West, Grimsby, Ontario. All in favor? That's carried. All right, can I have a mover and seconder for the Grimsby Green Task Force appointments? Councillor Howe, Councillor Charwa. All right. Resolved that the following, moved by Councillor Howe, second by Councillor Charwa, resolved that the following individuals be appointed to the Grimsby Green Terms of Reference Task Force. Councillor Vardy, Council Member on Green. Marilyn McCrae, Community Member on Green. Bob Friesen, Community Member on Green. Sarah Sweeney, Director of Community Services. Harold Motti, Director of Planning and Building. All in favor? That's carried. Now we move to Chair's report. Councillor Howe will now give his Chair's report for the Finance Committee meeting. Councillor Howe, go ahead.
Pretty tough to take the light spot here, but I'm going to try. The Finance Committee meeting, October 24th, 2024. 24-31, and that's the report number. Appointment of auditor. The KPMG be approved as the municipality's external auditor. Would be for 2 years with an option to extend term for 2 one-year periods. Grant Thornton, who was the previous auditor, did the job from 2015 and was extended in 2021 to, they'll be completing this year. But KPMG will be our new auditors, external auditors, and certainly I don't think there's any question as to the KPMG and their qualifications and names. So 2432 user fees. Does not include, and the first thing to remember is, does not include community services, as community services is working on its own review, and that'll be forthcoming. But there is an extensive list. I was suggesting, I believe, is Mike from this consulting company here? Daniel? Okay. And Daniel, oh, there he is. Okay, the representative from the consultants that did this work for us. And it's would be effective January 1st, 2025. It has been more than 10 years since a comprehensive review has taken place. So it's certainly, I think when you go through it, you'll see that it's well done and very extensive. 4 appendixes. The A contains the consultant report. B to P is the user fee schedules, and Q is a summary of the fee changes. So, even if you just pick out those couple of appendices, then give you a good coverage, but it's certainly an excellent report. 2433 report, reserve and reserve fund policy. This policy has not been updated since 2021 and needs to be updated. So obviously, just to touch on it, we have 4 types of reserve: stabilization reserves, which help us deal with unplanned expenses or emergencies; asset management reserves, which help us fund regular asset rehab and renewal. And that might be the one wild card as we get used to reserves in building up funds for the asset plan that we've got in place. Special purpose reserves, which be established for varying purposes, and reserve funds, which are segregated for specific purposes as required by statute, such as DC's reserve funds. And staff will be coming back to committee with recommended reserve balances and targeted reserve contribution levels once further review takes place. So those numbers will be all in place for as we go forward with our budget and work. 2434, capital financing policy. This is a new policy that came to the committee for first review. So it's a draft report that you're looking at, and it'll be going back to finance and it's out there to have more time to be able to collect comments and to review it. Provides a framework for how capital projects should be funded. Already? Boy, that's a short leash. Well, that's internal. Okay, the PKC, currently on time, on budget. And 2436, vehicle replacement. 2011 vehicle is gone to the boneyard, and they need another vehicle, and thus we would recommend just advancing it. It's in 2025 for capital budget for a vehicle as it is. We're just advancing that so that they have vehicle and not having to walk around with their backpack and the budget. And they will be evaluating a hybrid vehicle to determine if it meets our requirements. And that's the key. There's still, some question marks on hybrids, and they've just got to determine will it do the job and give us 10 years, which is basically what we're requiring out of vehicles now. So, but that's it.
All right, thank you, Councillor Howe. I'll give the chair's report from the Planning and Development Committee meeting. We really only had one report on the table, and it was the final report for the accessible parking. We're waiting for comment from other agencies. We didn't have any comment, and planning discussed at the meeting before. So our meeting didn't last very long, almost as long as I'm explaining this. So that's about all. It was a 3-minute meeting, my record. All right. Now can I have a mover and seconder to approve previous minutes? Moved by Councillor Howe, seconded by Councillor DeFlavio. And just to note that Councillor DeVoli is here now remotely. Moved by Councillor Howe, seconded by Councillor DeFlavio. Resolved that the following minutes be approved. Council, October 21st, 2024. Finance Committee, October 24th, 2024. Planning and Development Committee, October 30th, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. All right, can I have a mover and seconder to receive the board minutes? Councillor Frake, Councillor Bradzi. Moved by Councillor Frake, second by Councillor Bradzi. Resolved that the Joint Fire Services Advisory Committee minutes of October 22nd, 2024 be received. All in favor? That's carried. Any announcements for this evening? Councillor DeFlavio.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Bradzi and I and Walter Basic and Sarah Sweeney participated in the Curl for Kids' Sake yesterday at the Grimsby Curling Club. There were 2 days of curling. They raised over $40,000 for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It's I can't say that what I did was curling. Councilor Baradzi was a good curler, and so were Sarah and Walter. But it was fun to be part of the team, and it's a great event. Like, it's just well organized from beginning to end. It's a lot of fun. Everybody has a great time. Firefighters were there dressed in their full uniforms, and curling with their full uniforms on. It was just a great, great event and for a great cause. So I was proud to participate on behalf of the town, and I would encourage people to continue to contribute to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, because they're a great organization that does amazing stuff for our community. Thank you.
Councillor Korstanji.
Thank you, through Chair. I would just like to thank all the organizations and volunteers from Grimsby Glows. It was an amazing event. I was lucky enough to judge the pumpkin contest again, and congratulations to Mayor Jordan for his Violet's win in the dog costume contest, which was new this year. So hopefully more residents will come out for that next year and dress up their dogs. But it was a wonderful event with thousands of people. I think like they were expecting about 2,000 people. It was fantastic. So I highly recommend if you can come out and volunteer for it next year, or just come out and enjoy it. It's fantastic. So thank you to everybody who had a part in that.
Councillor Bradzi.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. Just wanted to give the heads up in advance of Remembrance Day for the presentation down at the Cenotaph at 10:30 down by the museum. So hope to see everybody there.
Seeing no further announcements, yes, thank you, Councillor Bradzi, for mentioning the Remembrance Day ceremonies at the Cenotaph, and I believe there's a luncheon at the Legion after the ceremonies, so all of council's welcome to that. And again, Grimsby Glows was really amazing, and I just want to really congratulate the BIA for Nightmare on Main Street. Certainly, the merchants on Main Street, most merchants had over 500 kids in costume. So it was really, really a nice thing. And I had a number of comments from residents that were really happy that their children could dress up in costumes 3 times, because they were dressed up on the 19th with the town festivities at Coronation Park, the 26th on Main Street, and at Coronation Park as well, and Grimsby Glows, as well as Halloween night. So great job by staff and everyone involved in those 3 events. Seeing no more announcements, can I have a mover and seconder to get the Integrity Commissioner report, IC 31896-0524, on the floor for discussion? Moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor Howe. And welcome, Michael. Michael Maynard's here, our Integrity Commissioner.
Thank you for the welcome, Mr. Mayor. Hello, everyone. So you've invited me here tonight because I have a report now on the agenda. As is my usual practice, my report speaks for itself. I really don't have anything to say about it particularly. I would just point out one thing, and just because there's obviously been a recent change, to your code of conduct and procedures, that this matter was dealt with entirely under the old code, which has now just very recently been replaced. And so in terms of procedures and everything else, it is the old code and procedures that apply to this matter, because the issue predates the new code and the investigation predates the new code. So we have to still stay within that realm of what the old code said. So that's what I've dealt with in this report. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that council may have.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, I think we need, Councillor Bradzi.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. Mr. Mayor, you kind of just mentioned that it would operate under the old code. I know that we changed it recently. The old code wasn't really kind of enlightening of what to do in these situations, hence the reason to change it. So I just kind of find it a bit of a quagmire, to be honest with you. Just looking for your insight into that.
Sure. So through you, Mayor, I understand there were some issues with the old code, which is obviously why it's been updated and replaced. But I think, obviously that is the law of the land at the time that everything was being dealt with. So that's what applies to this. And anything that occurs moving forward, and I mean, hopefully that's nothing, but if anything occurs moving forward that requires the code of conduct to be applied, it would be the new code that is applied on anything from the date of the date that it was adopted moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, Councillor Sharwa has declared a conflict.
She wants to speak? She wants to speak.
You do want to speak? All right.
Okay, thank you, through you, Mayor. I wanted to provide some information to those at home or those following who may be unfamiliar with the Integrity Commissioner complaint process. So I referred to ChatGPT for some background information. So I asked, explain the purpose of the Integrity Commissioner complaint process. In Ontario, the purpose of Integrity Commissioner complaint process is to uphold ethical standards and accountability within municipal governance. These complaints allow citizens to report misconduct by elected officials, ensuring transparency and trust in local government. However, addressing these complaints often incur costs that are ultimately borne by taxpayers, including fees for investigations and legal services. This financial burden underscores the necessity for council members to exercise diligence in managing taxpayer money. While I searched for a general cost associated per complaint, it would not provide that. I've asked our staff for a ballpark figure, but I could not get that, and FOI came back mainly redacted. So based on past complaints and knowing this complaint has been so time intensive, I will estimate a cost of $20,000 or more. A mere estimate until we await the publishing of this bill. Today's Integrity Commissioner complaint was again not initiated by a resident. This, like past complaints, was initiated and filed by Councillor Reginald Freak. This being the 6th complaint filed by Councillor Freak against one of his council colleagues. I asked ChatGPT to provide examples of what Integrity Commissioner complaints are meant for. Examples of Integrity Commissioner complaints in Ontario can include conflict of interest, misuse of resources, physical and sexual harassment or discrimination, inaccurate statements, and violations of code of conduct, including issues like failing to disclose gifts or hospitality. These complaints aim to ensure that elected officials adhere to ethical standards and maintain public trust in their governance. In filing complaints for the examples mentioned, I absolutely agree that although costly, they are necessary for accountability and transparency. This has not been the case with the reoccurring Integrity Commissioner complaints that I have encountered in the last year that I've received from some members of council. Tonight, for example, we aren't discussing accusations of conflict of interest or sexual or physical harassment. On the contrary, we see that Councillor Freak and his 6th complaint filed against a council colleague had the Integrity Commissioner turning over every stone in Grimsby to get him removed from a Facebook, to find out who removed him from a Facebook group.
Councillor Sharwa, you need to stop. There's a point of order been raised. Councillor Vardy, you have a point of order?
Yes, thank you. I think this line of discussion and debate is inappropriate and it's veering off topic. What we are talking about here is not Councillor Frake, but basically Councillor Sharwa's unacceptable behavior. And if the behavior were to stop, the complaints would surely stop as well.
Are we done?
So I
Yeah, can you explain how that would be a point of order, please?
That's a point of order because we're not trying the case. Michael Maynard already tried the case. As he said in the very last line of the report, the case is now closed, and
Yes.
you appear to be opening it back up again.
I'm actually not. I'm
Through ChatGPT,
No.
which we don't
Okay.
even know if is reliable, quite honestly.
That was,
Councillor Frake has a point of order as well.
Your mic.
Councillor Sharwa.
Keeps going off on me, sorry. I say it once again, I'm not on trial here, and that's what you're trying to do, and I think it's totally out of order. I totally agree with Councillor Vardy, and I think we need to move this forward, and I think you've said enough about what you said. Yeah, no, you're not finished, but it's a point of order, and I think you've gone totally off track. We are here to deal with the Integrity Commissioner's report, and that's it. Not for you to throw another bunch of mud at the wall, which is what you're doing. And I did not report 6 actual integrity complaints. You're totally wrong on that as well. That's another lie. So I would like to move this thing on, Mr. Chair, because I think this is totally out of order.
I accept the point of order, and you're finished.
I would still like to continue. I'm almost done.
No, I think now.
What is your justification?
Accusing other counselors in a council meeting.
I'm not talking about myself. How many have you, because you're just disputing
All right.
my claim. So how many?
Councillor Sharwa,
how
this
many
is your first
have you-
warning. I will expel you under 2412 of the Municipal Act.
So you're not going to allow me to continue to finish
No, I'm
reading
not,
this? Of course not.
because
Of course not.
this is sour grapes. You're not accepting the Integrity Commissioner's report. And Michael, if you want to add to this, I'm quite happy, because I certainly know, reading the report, I think you were already frustrated with the behavior of Councillor Sharwa.
We're talking about removing somebody from a Facebook group. So we went through a
All right.
5-month-long investigation over
Councillor
a Facebook
Sharwa,
group.
I will remove you from this meeting if you continue to defy my authority.
I think it's ridiculous that you won't let me speak to this because you know how frivolous this
Councillor Sharwa?
is, so you're not even allowing me to talk about the issue.
Councillor Korstanji.
Thank you, through Chair. I'd like to put a reconsideration on the floor, if possible, that we reconsider our vote on investigating decorum. This has cost us, in our last finance meeting, or in October, Councillor Howe can attest to this, we were $75,000 over budget in administrative, and it specifically mentioned some of the Integrity Commissioner fees. So I'd like to put if I can, a reconsideration on the floor to no longer investigate decorum and Integrity Commissioner complaints so that we don't have to experience this.
Yeah,
every month.
You're welcome to put a notice of motion forward, and if you do get 2/3 of council to accept, is that how it goes? All right, so we have moved by Councillor Korstanji, second by Councillor DeFlavio. How do you want to do this? The clerk needs to find the original motion so we can have a reconsideration on it. Yeah, we can vote on the reconsideration. So there's a reconsideration on the floor. It needs 2/3 to pass. So vote by e-scribe.
I vote no.
Can I ask Mr. Maynard if I'm allowed to vote on this?
Yeah, you're allowed to vote on a reconsideration. Councillor DeVoli, what is your vote? I think you're muted. Councillor DeVoli? All right. All right, that is defeated. Councillor Bradzi?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, through you. Just kind of wanted to revisit what I touched on previous, Mr. Maynard. So I noticed like the recommendation's a reprimand, but under the old code, the only thing actionable was financial penalty. So I'm still at a loss of what a reprimand is. If you could shed maybe some more insight. Given the situation, I know that it's under the old code, but since that there was no, I'll say, a policy set before, could it, in this instance, the new code be used?
So through you, Mayor, I have to correct you on that, Councillor. The penalties are still the same because they're actually set out in the Municipal Act. So a reprimand or a suspension of remuneration up to 90 days are both of the things that are available under the old code and the new code because those are enshrined in law in the Municipal Act. I believe the intention moving forward is to allow some other remedial type things to occur. But at this point in time, the things that are available are what I've said in the report, which is either a reprimand or a suspension of remuneration. And I felt in this case that that a reprimand was appropriate. A reprimand is essentially just a public statement by council to say that we do not accept the conduct that's been reported.
That's the exact answer I was looking for. Thank you. I don't really think we should continue down this path. I mean, it's been said we're here talking about Facebook conduct, but it's still conduct against us as colleagues. I support a reprimand. I think my favorite part of this report is when Mr. Maynard said that he no longer felt it needed to spend town resources on it. And I think we should move forward to, I know we have a couple hands up, so I won't call a question, but I think we should get there.
So you're moving option 2? All right, so we need a seconder for option 2, and we can get it on the floor for discussion.
They don't know what option 2 is.
If you repeat option
All right, option 2 is resolved that the Integrity Commissioner's Report IC 31896-0524 be received and Councillor Sharwa be issued a reprimand as recommended in the report.
Thank you. I'll get that on the floor.
Moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor Howe. We have a mover and seconder already, Councillor Vardy. Go ahead, Councillor Sharwa.
Korstanji. What exactly, so when we're voting on this, what is the reprimand that we're voting on? Is it a statement? Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
Councillor Sharwa.
Through Mayor Jordan, thank you. I'm just, sorry, Michael, can you clarify what the code violation was that I did, the Facebook violation? And just let me know as well exactly your proof. Because I don't know if people are clear what the violation actually was with Facebook.
Well, through you, Mayor, I mean, I think the report makes it very clear what the violation was, and I think it makes it very clear what my proof is. I'm not here to relitigate what's in my report, Councillor. My report speaks for itself. I found that you breached the code by removing Councillor Frake, particularly, from the Facebook group. And I found that that was a breach because it was done in an act of what I believe to be an act of vengeance for his actions in filing a complaint about you. The evidence on a balance of probabilities using deductive reasoning brings me to that conclusion. And that is the standard of proof that is required in this type of a process, is a balance of probabilities standard. So that's what I've used. And as I think laid out quite clearly in the report, that's exactly what it says.
So just to be clear, so this report is based on whether or not I removed Councillor Frick from a Facebook group. That's what we're dealing with today, right? Is that correct?
Through you, Mayor, the report deals with a number of issues that were raised in the complaint, but that is one of them.
No, I see her. Councillor DeVoli. Councillor DeVoli, you're muted.
Now? Are we good now?
We're good now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to share some thoughts that I had on this particular incident and to say that, you know, it is another one which is incredibly sad. It's especially hard to read the comments that were made about some of us and the effectiveness of our work. And I will say that it's hard now and has been for a number of months since these actions were taken to understand why and where the actions and comments are actually coming from. I think we all wish that if we understood why these were happening, perhaps we could help and work with it. I will share that personally, you know, I struggle now when this particular councillor puts forth notices of motion or resolutions or comments to look beyond the acrimony that now exists and to see if there's any real value in her comments. And I struggle with this truly because of past actions and comments that have been made about.
Yeah, that's a point of order. I'm going to call that a point of order. That was pretty bad. Thank you.
All right. I agree with your point of order. So I don't think you need to talk about the individual, just talk in a general term.
Okay, I thought I was. So I will say that, you know, from my own perspective, I struggle. I struggle with, I struggle with, you know, looking beyond some of the comments sometimes and understanding the value of what is being shared with us. So I will say that, you know, it is a sad day when one starts to lose respect for your fellow councillors. And I think if we vote to accept the reprimand only, that, you know, from my perspective, I consider this an olive branch to my fellow councillor. But I can only say that if there is ever another incident that continues, or if this continues, I truly
Point of order.
don't
This is
see any
going
olive
past our,
branches in my
this is
future,
now going past into
being
other.
extended
No,
in
I'm
this
going to overrule that point of
situations.
order.
I will stop there. Thank you.
Councillor Vardy. Councillor Vardy?
No, thank you. I guess my concern is how do we get ahead of this? How do we move forward? Because it feels like confrontation after confrontation.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the appropriate time to discuss this. I think our integrity commissioner has made his recommendation. It was a 21-page report. It was very thorough, and he stands by it. And I think that we move from there. So
Well, I vote in favor of the reprimand, and I just like to say, if the behavior, if anyone's behavior.
Point of order. Point of order.
No, excuse me. If anyone's behavior.
The mayor just cut you off and you're continuing.
Commissioner complaints.
Councillor Sharwa, I think Councillor Vardy's talking about anyone's behavior. There's a certain level of decorum that we need around this council chamber, and I've been very lenient with letting people speak out of turn, and people almost cross the line. So I think what we need to do is to put this to rest and move on from this. So Councillor DeFlavio, you can go next.
Thank you, Mayor. The easiest thing to do would be to stay quiet and stay out of this, but am I the only one that is saddened and embarrassed by this entire procedure? Like, the report has brought to light a lot of issues that, while they're important to the individuals involved, also raise bigger questions about our responsibilities as elected individuals. And I think the first thing we need to do as a council is recognize that our role as councilors is to serve the public interest with integrity, diligence, and respect. And that includes addressing legitimate concerns and ensuring that our actions are always in the best interests of our constituents. It's also equally important to avoid engaging in disputes that are perceived as petty and frivolous. So, because those can detract from our primary responsibility. And so I don't want, I had a lot prepared about this because I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be a part of a council where we're having this discussion and we're having repeated points of order regarding somebody's involvement in a Facebook group. And, when I was a young teacher, I did yard duty one time. And I had a little kid come up to me and say, "Those kids won't play with me." And I felt empathy and I validated their concerns, but that was all I could do. I couldn't force the other kids to play with that kid. I feel like we keep going in circles here. And it's funny because the Integrity Commissioner mentions me being a part of that group, but I was also banned from that group for years and was not allowed to be a member. My reaction was not to get angry about it. My reaction was not to, any of the types of things that are happening tonight. My reaction was actually to promote another group on Facebook. And there are 10,000 members of that group now because I told everybody to join that other group. So can we just move on? Can we stop acting like this? Like, I don't know how many times I have to have the same. We need to move past these types of silly discussions. And these types, we're spending thousands of taxpayers' dollars on arguing over what, frankly, is stupid. I have no other way of saying it. I feel like this is a really, really, really huge waste of our time, of taxpayers' money, of your time, Mayor, of our staff members' times, who have to continuously help Mr. Maynard out in bringing forward information to him. It's a waste of his time. Let's try and be better. That's all I have to say, is let's try and be better than we're being so far. We've got 2 years behind us. We've got 2 years left. Let's be better. That's it.
And we can go further that you didn't get kicked off the site, but I'll leave it at that. Councillor Bradsey.
I just want to say, yeah, I was removed from the group. Quite frankly, I couldn't care less. To me, it's the action taken towards other councillors as a result of the way they voted on another particular issue that makes this issue legitimate. Because I can agree with the sentiment. I do not want to be sitting up here arguing about what happens on Facebook. I don't care what happens on Facebook. I was planning to speak very much to what Nick says. We're in the halfway point of this term. And remember, when we were all elected, the main reason we're all elected is to avoid crap like this. So I'm going to also call on everyone here from the next 2 years going forward. We got to get the ship together. Ship with a P as in vessel, to be clear.
All right, I think everyone's spoken at least once, so Councillor Sharwa, you want to continue?
Thank you. Yes. And I did actually have some very positive comments that were exactly like this, just saying that in the future, I'm just asking that that we're open, that we're putting the needs of our communities before our own, that we are transparent in our decision making. I'm here because I want to be here. I don't have some like extra interest. I want to be here. I want to serve the community. I'm not leaving. So like, you're going to have to work with me. There's a lot that still needs to be done. We have 2 years. I'm positive that we can continue and we can be positive and we can move things forward. So let's do that. I don't want to hear from the Integrity Commissioner because I didn't invite somebody to a birthday party or something frivolous. Like, let's just move on, please. And I'm going to ask people to vote no, so that we stop enabling this behavior.
Councillor Bradsey.
At the end of the day, issuing a reprimand, I think we need to correct this behavior. If we saw 1 ounce of accountability or one step, and I'll even challenge the counselor to be the bigger person here and put the first foot forward. Someone has to. There's no going forward. Someone's got to make the first move. There's no going forward until someone does, because if we keep just butting heads, this is what we're going to do for the next 2 years, and I don't want to see that. Town doesn't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. It's a waste of money. I think we all agree that. So I'll put the challenge out there. I hope you take it.
Councillor Cristangi.
Through your chair, I'd like to call the question.
All right, I'll read the resolution. Moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor Howe. Resolved that the Integrity Commissioner's Report, IC 31896-0524, be received and Councillor Charwa be issued a reprimand as recommended in the report. E-scribe voting, please.
I vote in favor of the reprimand.
Councillor DeVoldy.
Yes, I vote yes in favor of the reprimand.
All right, that's carried. Thank you very much, Michael. Have a good evening. Hope not to see you again.
I'll try not to take that personally. Good night, everyone.
Can I have a mover and seconder to get the Grimsby Community Development Grant Recipient Report on the floor for discussion? Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, second by Councillor Howe. All right, are there any questions from council? Councillor DeVoldy.
Thank you, Mayor Jordan. My question really is about last year's grant, to ask if staff would be able to give us an update on the status of last year's grant, the recipients, whether they've met all the conditions, had their final payout, et cetera, et cetera. And if not tonight, certainly if they could come back at the next meeting, that would be fine.
Tony, can you give an update now, or do you want to come back? Looks like now. All right.
Yes, I'm going to say if we could take that back and bring a quick update at the next meeting.
That sounds great. Thank you, Tony. All right. Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, second by Councillor Howe. Resolved the report FIN 24-37 Grimsby Community Development Grant 2024 recipients dated November 4th, 2024 be received, and that selected applicant projects be approved for funding as recommended by the grant review panel under the conditions of the Grimsby Community Development Grant Program. All in favor?
Too late?
It's too late. That's carried. Can I have a mover and seconder for the Giving Tuesday proclamation? Moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor DeFlavio. Moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor DeFlavio. Whereas Giving Tuesday is an annual celebration of generosity and volunteerism, which is celebrated and recognized in over 180 countries across the globe, and whereas Giving Tuesday falls immediately after Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, and asks people to give to the less fortunate after spending money on luxuries, and whereas since 2012, Giving Tuesday has raised billions of dollars for charities and nonprofits across Canada and the U.S. and the world, whereas since performing in 2021, Niagara Gives and Giving Tuesday has inspired more than $300,000 in charitable donations to local Niagara organizations, whereas Giving Tuesday brings together businesses, charities, families, and entire communities to tackle real issues and create a better world for all. And whereas the town of Grimsby recognizes and celebrates the incredible contributions of individuals and organizations and recognizes the increasing need for their services, therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Jeff Jordan, do hereby declare December 3rd, 2024 as Giving Tuesday in the town of Grimsby. All in favor? That's carried. Can I have a mover and seconder for the bylaw? Moved by Councillor Frake, second by Councillor Bradzi. Moved by Councillor Frake, second by Councillor Bradzi. Resolved that leave be given to introduce bylaw 24-75 and that same be read a first time, considered, and passed. All in favor? That's carried. Next regular council meeting will be held on November 18th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. There will be a special council meeting held on Thursday, November 14th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. for a strategic priorities and budget workshop. Can I have a mover and seconder for the confirming bylaw? Moved by Councillor Howe, second by Councillor Frake. Moved by Councillor Howe, second by Councillor Frake. Resolved that leave be given to introduce bylaw 24-76 and that same be read a first time, considered, and passed. All in favor? That's carried. Meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.